Oh my God.
Wow, really? You got called out so hard right there.
I called out really hard on that.
That's funny though.
He-Man and the Masters of the Universe was on Netflix.
He-Man and the Masters of the Universe was a distinct story from the original 80s cartoon.
He-Man and the Masters of the Universe was enticing.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fallingtower's Watch the First podcast, podcast in which we watch the first episode of a series so that you don't have to. I kind of messed that up, but at least Muhammad distracted you by going like this. Like, you are not paying attention to this. Today, you guessed it, we are doing a review of Netflix's brand new show. And by brand new, I mean it's like a year old. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, because this is Saturday morning cartoons month. September Saturday morning cartoons. With us today, we have our very special guest co-host, Dr. Muhammad Noor. You know him as... Sorry, I was just going to say, you know him as an occasional Star Trek science advisor, as well as the Dean of Arts and Sciences at Duke University.
Hello, pleasure to be here on Watch the First. As always.
On one of the many things.
Yeah, one of those shows.
One of those shows.
It's interesting you mentioned that. You mentioned about the show that it's from that's recent, but it's also in its third season.
Right. I know that. I want to talk about that because that's nuts. Speaking of things we want to talk about, we have a Twitch streamer and content creator. You've seen her before. It's just Sheik. We're not trying to diminish her. She goes by just Sheik.
It's just Sheik. Yeah.
All right. That's enough of us talking about ourselves. Now let's talk about, well, ourselves, but how we felt about this show. And everybody at home, please make sure to give this video a like. Please make sure you are subscribing. And if you want us to review a show, in the comments below, just type WTF and the show. So in this case, it would have been WTF He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. That stands for Watch the First, of course, you naughties. All right. So
to be WTF, the original She-Ra.
Yep. Or the remake of She-Ra, because I don't think we've done that one yet. But you guys, we have done the 2020 Netflix He-Man, or I think it was called Masters of the Universe. Yeah. What was his name? Kevin Smith did it. It was on Netflix as well. And we did the original 80s cartoon of He-Man. So this is the third iteration of He-Man. By the way, somebody, won't say who, but somebody gave the original He-Man a very low mark. Anyway, so check that out. First things first, let's do our favorite game. And by ours, I mean mine. I think Muhammad likes it too. It's predictions. I've known Muhammad a couple years, maybe 3. I don't know. Predicaments. Sheik, I feel like we've actually known each other for a very long. What has it been, like 5 years or something?
Yeah, longer than I realized. Maybe 5-6 years.
Maybe 15.
Whenever that.
Who knows?
Was it ModestoCon? Or
it was something in the Central Valley.
Something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In a little while.
Yep. Central Valley convention. So Muhammad and you have known each other for about 5 minutes. So good luck there. But we're going to make some predictions. Muhammad, I predict that you are lukewarm on this. You do like animated things. So that goes in the plus column. But I don't know if you were ever a fan of He-Man originally. So I think you're going to be lukewarm. Sheik, I think you're going to be around the same, around the mediums on it. What do you think, Muhammad?
It's a good question. So Ryan, I'm pretty sure I've heard you talk about on previous shows that you watched He-Man. I remember you saying you like Ram Man and things like that. So I think you might be reasonably positive about this remake. We'll see. It's a different story, so it's hard to tell. But I think the combination of nostalgia plus new story plus it actually is developing a whole arc here, and I think you like that. And it leaves more to be desired at the end of the episode. It's not like it's all resolved. I think you like that sort of thing too. So I think you're going to be pretty good, pretty positive. Sheik, I'm just gonna roll the dice.
Yeah.
I'll say, I'll just say this. Let's assume the best. I'll say that you're also gonna be pretty positive on this too. Maybe both of you in the high 7, low 8 range.
What about you,
All
Sheik?
right.
What do you think in your crystal ball?
Well, I agree with Muhammad. I think you liked this. I feel like you appreciate any type of, even if it is newer, the comic section, just like this being from an original. I feel like maybe there might be some things about it where you're like, oh, I don't like care for that they did it this way, but I feel like you genuinely liked it. Muhammad. I'm not getting a vibe that you're a comic person, but that you can appreciate the creativity in this show, and that for a kid show, or I don't know if it's for kids or not. I mean, it seems kind of kiddish, but I feel like you thought it wasn't too bad, that you surprised yourself.
Now, everybody at home, real quick, these guys bought me enough time to check our previous He-Man reviews. Was WTF number 34 with Darnell Davis, our good buddy actor Darnell Davis. That was the original He-Man, right? And then WTF 71 with actress Kat Guerin. That was Masters of the Universe Revelation. So check those out.
Which Masters of the Universe Revelations was a direct sequel to the original one. It's basically continuing the same timeline, but later.
Right.
As opposed to this one, which is a reboot.
Mm-hmm. So everybody at home, we've given you some hints in the comments below or in the live chat. Go ahead and make your predictions. Do you think I liked it? Do you think Muhammad liked it? Do you think just Sheik liked it or not? Tell us, make your predictions. And I know it's going to take a second for you to type all that stuff out. Muhammad's very courteous. He's going to give you a little bit of time to type that out by telling us what this show is even about.
Happy to do so. So, young Tila is an apprentice of Evelyn's and assigned to steal a sword from King Randor's castle. But when she picks it up, a voice in her head tells her to run away and give it to an unnamed champion. She meets a boy named Adam, who's lost from his family and living amidst a literal tiger tribe. When Evelyn and her team confront the tiger tribe village, Tila and Adam stand up to them, and Adam, holding the sword for the first time, accidentally utters the magic words, causing him to bulk up and be the champion Tila was seeking.
By literal tiger tribe, we mean green tiger tribe.
Fair point.
All right, everybody. So we hope you've got your predictions. You're about to find out if we did like it or didn't. We're going to make a fun game today. We're going to change things up.
Ooh.
We're going to compare what we expected versus what we got.
Maybe we could call it expectations.
That's good improv. Solid improv. Okay, so Muhammad, before you watched this first episode of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe on Netflix, what did you expect, if anything?
It's a great question. So I knew this one, unlike the other one, was a reboot. I had actually watched the original He-Man back when it first aired in the 1980s. And I had seen all of the continuation series. Actually, I'm inspired by watching it on Watch the First.
Nice.
I saw a good review there. I was like, oh, I'll check this out. Oh, this is pretty good. Watch the whole thing. Yeah, and it was a great cast in that one too. I loved seeing Mark Hamill as Skeletor and what's her name, the person who's from Game of Thrones,
Lena Headey, the best actress out there.
Yeah, as evil Lynn as opposed to Evelyn. So I'd seen those. I didn't really know. It's interesting. I knew this one was a reboot, so I was not inclined on my own. I was like, I don't want to try it again. Maybe it'll be risky to see something else. So I hadn't on my own gone to see it. But when you asked me if I'd watch it, I was like, okay, I'll check it out and see what it was. But I didn't know anything about it beyond just that it was a reboot of the series. I didn't know anything more specific than that, aside from knowing again the original series and the continuation one.
Mm-hmm. Sheik, before you watched this first episode, which is, by the way, entitled The Sword of Grayskull, episode 1, is what it said. What did you expect, if anything?
Honestly, when you told me, I was like, He-Man, okay. I never watched any He-Man in my life. I just knew of it. My mom has mentioned it probably from the 80s. And so I was just like, okay, like, but I know it's like kind of the fun of the show though, because it's like it's not a biased opinion. You're like, I'm coming in here with a blank slate. So yeah, at first I was just kind of like, I don't know what to expect. And then I looked online and I saw that it looked very like a kids show. And I was just like, oh, okay, well, I've taught preschool for like 10 years. I watched a lot of kids shows. Like, how bad can this be? So that's how I felt when you told me.
Had you watched She-Ra, either the original one or the reboot one? Oh, okay, not those either.
So zero Eternia knowledge. All right.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Ryan. I like He-Man. I like
the Vulcan salute with it.
Whatever, change it up.
Wait.
And so I do remember when this first came out. I remember like the buzz was, hey, there's a new He-Man thing that just came out on Netflix, and everybody was like, yeah, I know, like 5 months ago. And they're like, no, like another new one on Netflix like 5 months later. What? And then you look at it, oh, well, this one doesn't look like a new He-Man show for kind of adults in a way. This looks like a new He-Man show for kind of kids. And so I forgot about it. And then when we were doing this, it was like, oh yeah, it was up in our WTF notes. And so my expectation was, I was a little worried because I was like, this does look, just from the picture, all I saw was like the picture. And I'm like, they kind of halfway look like they're Transformers or Robotech. I'm not really getting a He-Man vibe from this. I'm getting like,
by the way, 2 weeks ago, watched the first Transformers.
Yep.
Nice.
Sorry to interrupt
yes. You. No, absolutely. So everybody, if you want to see our review of Transformers, the original 80s cartoon, our guest was Rico, and that's Rico Anderson, by the way. And right now he's yelling in my ear. That's Rico E. Anderson, actor. Actually, Sheik, Rico as well.
Yeah. I think about both of you at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And that is WTF 128. So check that out. That's all of Saturday morning cartoon month that's going on right now. Okay. So my expectation was medium at best. I was like, I'm a little worried about what's going on here. It doesn't look like He-Man. But we'll see. But that's what we expected. Dr. Noor, what did you actually get upon viewing it?
Actually, I really liked it. I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised how much I enjoyed it. And again, I knew this was basically a reboot of the whole series. I didn't know they were going to change a lot of things. Like right off the bat, when they had Evelyn instead of Evil Lynn, I was like, okay, they're just going to do these little stupid changes or something like that. But no, actually, while I have to say, you commented about the animation style in terms of looking a little bit like Transformers. I didn't love the animation style. And that it felt very comic-y to me, which I was like, not a big fan of that. But story-wise, I thought it was interesting. Seeing, okay, now we have Teela starting off as teamed up with Evil Lynn or Evelyn or whatever, and actually kind of starting off as a bad person, and then transitioning over, and we have this origin story for Adam as He-Man as opposed to the original cartoon where it just starts. This I found the story kind of compelling, much more so than I would have predicted going in. I can elaborate. There's a lot of specific things I have to say about various parts of it, especially the funny parts, but we'll come back to those later.
Stay tuned for the funny parts. What about you, Sheik? What did you actually get?
I was surprised at how I was entertained. I wasn't bored. I literally, when I opened it, I was like, okay, it's only like 27 minutes long. I can do this. I had just like negative mindset. And then, but then as I'm watching it, I found myself like comfortable, and I'm like, hey, like this is actually kind of interesting. I agree. Like the animation and the look wouldn't be, like I said, I look at it and I just think, oh, this is like just a random kid show on Netflix. But I found myself interested in it, in the characters, and I even got goosebumps at one point during the episode. Nice. And I was like, ooh, this is getting cool. And yeah, so I was surprised. I definitely had like no expectations, and then I was, yeah, it was good.
Well, I'll tell you
We'll
what
have to
I
ask you
got.
later. We have to tell us later where you got goosebumps.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Put a pin in that. We got to remember that.
Goosebumps. I do have a note that says goosebumps.
Nice. WTF goosebumps, everybody at home. All right. I'll tell you what I got. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to get. I'm going to get a lot of battles with these guys because I am going to poop on this thing left and right. It was god freaking awful, and I'm just going to have a difficult time finding any silver linings. Close your mouths when I say I'm going to poop on stuff because you don't want. But anyway, so what I got was, honestly, I don't know what I was watching. That's what my notes kept saying. What the am I watching? I don't know. It's certainly not He-Man. I'm telling you one thing. It says He-Man in the title, but don't let that fool you. This was not He-Man. This was not the Masters of the Universe. This was not anything like that, in my opinion.
Maybe it's why I liked it.
Maybe.
I mean, it is a retelling. It's fair.
Maybe
since it's not the same story.
If you saw the 80s cartoon of He-Man, you'd be like, this is trash, you guys. What the heck is going on here? And I'd be like, oh my God, it's so good. So let's round one. Fight. Where did you get goosebumps? Let's handle that before we forget.
Am I allowed to say what happens in the episode?
Yeah.
When the He-Man character, because the thing is, I didn't know any characters. I don't know who's gonna be I don't know anything. So to me, like what is his name? Adam again?
Yeah.
When he gets the sword and like the power starts to like take over, and they're like, what the heck? Because it was just like no one knew. He's just some like little kid. Anyway, when that happened, like I just love things like that in shows, like when they get their powers or whatever starts happening. I'm like, oh, it's so cool. Like I was such a kid. I turned into a kid watching this. So I thought it was really cool. I got goosebumps, and I think maybe because I had no expectations and it's just like blank show, like I have no clue. To me, it was just I got goosebumps during it. I thought it was so cool how they did it. I was surprised. I liked the animation. It kind of made me give a gamer feel, but I'm a gamer, so like
I thought the same.
It was just like, yeah, it was kind of like it looked like a video game. But for me, I'm like, yeah, the character's like upgrading. They got this awesome like weapon now, or it kind of had like a Thor feel where it's like he gets the hammer, so it's just like, yeah, he's got the sword. And so me, I'm like, oh, this is cool. So it's all new to me, and that gave me goosebumps. It was like a good build up for me, anyway.
Mm-hmm. Muhammad, you like the name Adam, right?
Oh yeah, my son's name's Adam, so I'm all in for that. Actually, there's a funny thing. I don't know if you've seen the TV show Mo. This is on Netflix right now, but there's a scene in there which bit me on the name Adam.
Mo?
Yeah, it's actually about a guy named Mohammed who's Palestinian who lives in Texas or something like that. But at one point in time, he's talking to his girlfriend. Sorry, this is a way tangent, but it has to do with the name Adam. He's talking to his girlfriend, and he said, "What are we gonna do? Have a kid and name him Adam?" And she's like, "What's wrong with Adam?" He's like, "It's fine name. It's a beautiful name, but it's the name Arabs use when they sell out because it's a name that's pronounced the same in English and in Arabic." I was like, oh my God, that was exactly why we named our son Adam.
Oh my God.
Wow, really? You got called out so hard right there.
I called out really hard on that.
That's funny though.
Anyway, sorry.
So, look, I don't know. You guys want to start with what you guys thought was really good, or you want to start with what I thought was really bad? Because I could tell you what I thought was really bad.
Why don't you go ahead?
I said just share it. Just
almost
get it out.
all of
you know
it.
You want to. Just share it.
Okay. I think this would be a better show, in my opinion, had it not been called He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, because they used some of the same names, but this was not, I mean, like Teela, for example, is an actual character in He-Man, and it's a completely different character.
Yeah, not
and
magical.
Duncan is a character in He-Man, and he's a totally different character. He's like Teela's dad.
Teela's dad.
Right? And so there's all these things, and it's like, I don't mind. I think it's great when they add new characters. I think that's awesome. That's expanding the universe. That's given, in fact, I think that's what they should do. But when they are using characters that are pre-existing, then I'm like, well, that's not actually Tila. I know who Tila is, and that's not who it is. And that's cool if they want to have a character that's like that, but then don't call her Tila because we already know who Tila is, and that's not who. Tila was a warrior, not a witch or whatever they called her, a witch, hand witch or something. That's not
witch.
Word witch. So that whole thing is like, why don't you just create a new character and just call her Sammy? There you go, Sammy. And we're like, cool, new character, instead of going, well, no, that's not Tila. I remember what Tila was like, and that was not her at all. So,
So did you do this for Battlestar Galactica? And like, oh my gosh, Starbuck's a woman, or something like that?
No, because a couple reasons. Because Starbuck being a woman instead of a dude wouldn't really be a change, because Starbuck was a pilot, right?
That's true.
Starbuck is a pilot, and Starbuck is a pilot. Not Starbuck is a pilot, and now Starbuck is a lizard. You know what I mean? It's a totally You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. Whatever they want to reboot that, and also because I never saw the original Battlestar Galactica. But if I had, maybe I would be like, yeah, this one sucks. Shout out to Ronald D. Moore, who wrote a great Battlestar Galactica series. But that was one of the things that bothered me.
That makes sense.
I don't know why that didn't bother me at all, even though I watched the original one quite a bit, and I saw that everything was different. I remember when they first pointed out Duncan, like, whoa, that's definitely not the original Duncan at all.
Yeah, more like Dorkin. Am I right?
That somehow didn't bother me, though. I was like, whatever, it's a new story. I mean, and just they're recycling the name and changing it. Somehow that didn't bother me at all. But I hear what you're saying, though. I mean, your point is a fair point.
Yeah.
I can't even argue, because I feel like I would be the same way. Like, one of my favorite old comics or like movies, anything, is X-Men. I love X-Men. But I feel like if they had done, I don't even try to watch the new little reboots or anything of them, because I fear that I'll feel that way if they change characters. I'm like, no, that this it'd be like, if they give them a different power, you're like, no, this character does this, and that's not them anymore. So if coming from your perspective, I would definitely, I would feel that way, but I had no knowledge of these characters, so they're all new to me.
Right. What if you watched
powers?
What if you watched an X-Men reboot and they're like, oh, here comes Wolverine, and Wolverine is a bad guy sorcerer? You'd be like, that's not what? No, that's not what Wolverine is. I mean, that could be a fine character, but don't call him Wolverine, because that's not what it is.
I mean, the advantage I found for it, as opposed to it was just all new, is it was easier for me to remember the character names. I mean, in that sense, it was easier for me to remember, like, okay, it's this set of names, and like, oh, now Tila is this person. Like, okay. There's more go with the flow on that aspect to it.
But then beyond that, I just thought that the writing sucked. I just thought I just couldn't.
Really?
Yeah, there was very little. Everybody at home, I ended up watching it a second time because we had to reschedule this recording. I ended up watching it a second time just to refresh my memory. And I will say this, to your point, it was a little less bad upon my second viewing. And I did find some things that I was like, oh, that's pretty good. Or, oh, that's smart that I missed the first time, because the first time I was too busy going like, yeah, He-Man, being all grumpy. Whereas this time I expected it to be terrible, and then so I could just kind of like appreciate a couple of the good things that I missed. So there's that.
Did you think Adam looked like the guy from How to Train Your Dragon?
Yeah, I didn't until you just mentioned that he does. What did you guys think was good? There was a nice little Easter egg, I thought, when the two guys were talking about, you want to play a game of Modulock? And they're like, I don't want to. Well, Modulock was a character in the old He-Man that had like 8 legs and 6 arms or something like that. So it was just funny that they were calling a game. That was a fun little thing. What do you guys think was good about it? Tell me why I'm wrong.
You want to go for a Sheik, or you want me to get?
Well, I mean, like I said, I can't fully argue or say you're wrong, because I understand your point of view, Ryan. Like, that makes sense, and I would feel the same way. But I don't, because I'm not coming from that perspective.
Right.
I honestly, I liked it. I liked the characters. Tila, I thought I even wrote like a little note, like I liked the idea of her character. She's a character I would cosplay as. I liked her look.
This is Tila right here.
Yes,
yeah, right there. Or pointing like you can see where I'm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
so,
she's right.
She's right. But I liked her. I thought the characters were interesting. I also think maybe because I like anime too, like it had kind of like it's wanted to mixture maybe with a little bit of like the newer age anime as well. I don't know. I just like the characters. I thought it was good because it was entertaining. There was a few parts I know I can't recall every part, but I know there's a few parts I laughed at, so it had some humor. And so I don't know, I just kind of thought it was entertaining enough. I didn't get bored, so I felt like that was good, and the animation didn't bother me too much. Yeah.
No, I mostly agree with you, Sheik. I mean, I had similar thoughts. I had a bunch of points that I pointed out, or a bunch of points where I'd written down something was funny. On the Modulog game, I like this idea of running on their hands and passing with their feet. That was kind of fun. Let's see. Oh, yeah, the quote, "This is my favorite cliff. I almost die here all the time." That was a good quote. I like that.
That was one I caught the second time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And also, even the way He-Man read the magic words the first time, where he was just like, "By the power of Grayskull, I have the power." That was kind of funny, just in terms of it, because in the original series, it's so dramatic. "By the power of Grayskull." So this was much more sedate, to say the least. I thought it was funny that Duncan was kind of badass in the original series as Man-at-Arms, and this one he was kind of a little bit of a joke. I thought that was an amusing difference. Like, oh, okay, this is a very different take on Duncan. I almost wondered if he wasn't even supposed to be the same character, if it was just happened to have the same name of Duncan, but that there are hints later that he is the same character. So, but yeah, I felt myself very engaged, and overall, I just felt like it was a good origin story. Like, oh, here's this guy who's been lost with the Tigers for many years, doesn't even know who he is anymore. Gets found by Tila, and there's an origin story kind of for Tila too. She started off bad but turning good, and there was that interesting little clip at the very end with some guy just it was never defined who he was, but he just goes, "The power of Grayskull belongs to me." I mean,
that's got to be Skeletor.
Exactly, it's implied he's Skeletor, but it was never stated that. But he looked like just a guy. He wasn't all skeleton like. He had a face and stuff. So.
For you He-Man nerds out there, he's probably not Skeletor. I was guessing he's Keldar, who was Skeletor before he turned into a skeleton. He was just some wizard or something like that.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about the romance between He-Man and Skeletor? Because
oh my god.
What? Is that a thing?
No, that's just a funny thing.
Oh.
That's funny.
But that is the original Skeletor and the original He-Man, although I think that scene was made up. I don't think that was a real scene, but we would pay good money to see that scene.
Oh
I did find the intro music way over the top. Like, okay. That was like way over the top intro sequence, but yeah, whatever. I just skipped it. So
So, real quick, Sheik, look, here are some of the main characters of the original He-Man, right? So you got He-Man here with his funny bob and whatever, he doesn't shave. And this is Skeletor. This is Evelyn. This was Tila. She was like the warrior lady.
Oh, yeah, definitely different vibe.
Yeah.
Whole other
Don't forget Duncan.
Yeah, that was Man-at-Arms. That was Duncan too. Anyway,
next to him.
But not to harp too much on that. Obviously, look, this, as Muhammad said, this was a reboot. But for me, I'm just like, there are reboots, and then there are just completely, it's kind of like the way I look at it is if you're playing a board game, you can end the game and reset the pieces and consider that a reboot, and then the game will play out differently, right? But in this case, if you're ending the game and then you're resetting it up with completely different pieces and rules and all this, then we're not playing the same game anymore. You're not rebooting the game. It's not a reboot. It's just a different show with the same name. But I will say, look, I don't want to poop on this too much and ruin everybody's fun. But I swear I found it was nice when Tila said, in between the 50 times that she was like, "You wouldn't understand." I was like, "Oh, get the fuck out of here." But when she said,
you wouldn't understand.
She was right. I didn't understand. No, but when she said, "You're definitely from the city," because of your accent. Those are fun little interesting things that make you think, oh, there's a mystery here and we're going to be unraveling it bit by bit. So I think that's what they did well, was they planted some seeds there that make you think, okay, he's not one of these tiger people or cat team or whatever they called it. There's more to this story. And so they're going to be unraveling it through this serialized show. And I'm sure Muhammad has way more examples of that than I do, because I was too busy crying about it.
Oh. Did you like the interactions between Adam and Tila, besides the that you would understand? I mean, it was interesting, like their kind of mutual suspicion of each other, but then having to have a little bit of trust to move forward. That was a good build.
Yeah.
Tiger Tribe, that's what it was called.
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah, I thought that was cool. I always love the bonding of characters too. And yeah, they both seem kind of like him. He thinks he know who he is. And her, she's like, is sensing something more that he probably doesn't even realize. And then she, like, we obviously don't know much since she's not even like the original character. We don't know anything about her. So I thought it was cool. I like the mystery, and also, yeah, that they like pretty quickly had to rely on each other, and she seemed to not trust anybody. But she obviously like sensed something good about him.
I will say one good thing about this show, as opposed to the 80s show, right? Adam, as opposed to He-Man. In the original show, they looked exactly the same. Like, they were just as buff. They looked exactly the same.
Like Clark Kent and Superman. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was ridiculous.
There was no change.
This one, he looks like a different character.
Yeah.
They had a different voice, but otherwise they looked exactly the same.
Yeah, that's true, because this is what was weird here. I'll show you, Sheik. You've got, so Adam was supposed to be like this wimp, right? And then he pulls out the sword and he turns into He-Man, right? The problem is that Adam was super big and ripped, and like just because he's wearing a pink shirt doesn't mean he's not as ripped as He-Man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It looks just the same.
It's the same dude. It's
the hair, though. I can't get over the hair. Why?
The funny thing is, we didn't notice the hair until like decades later. We kind of look back and we're like, yo, what's up with He-Man's hair? Why is he?
I guess when you're younger, you're just like, like you just like the show. But the
Use
hair,
it for the plastic toy.
Does he look tough in your opinion, Sheik, with that hair? Does it look intimidating?
No. I can't help but not like. I don't even look at the muscles. I just like, why the hair? Like, why? You have like, just cut it. You got a sword, cut it off. Like, how does he keep it all perfect, Bob? Like that
with his sword.
Like...
Oh my gosh.
He's got bangs.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I don't know. It's just,
Battle Cat with him.
Yeah, Straddle Cat.
So is that supposed to be like the tiger back then?
Yes.
So the tiger did change. So he was Cringer, then became the Battle Cat when Adam would point the sword at him.
Oh.
Yeah, that was another thing. Was Cringer was like Adam in the original, where he was like this wimpy, whiny, scaredy cat. It was actually pretty funny.
Yeah, he looked the same as this one.
But in this thing, Cringer is like, Mustafa or something, right? Mufasa. Yeah.
Well, he doesn't have claws. Remember, he was declawed or something like that.
Poor
It was never quite explained why he didn't have claws. At least I missed it if they said it.
I didn't catch it. I thought his interaction with the bots was good. The interaction with the bots was clever. There was one other clever thing that was good, which was when, oh boy, what was the other girl's name? Not Tila. Crass, right? And then Cringer called her Crastine. He called her Crastine, like, so maybe Crass was her, short name.
Do you know who Crass is in the show compared to the old show? She is a character rebooted.
My guess, and it sounds like like maybe you read up on this, but when I first saw this, my guess was, is that Ram Man?
Yes, that's exactly Ram Mam.
Oh, really? That's funny because as soon as she said she likes to ram things with her helmet, I'm like, okay, you don't need to hit us over the head with it. We get it. This is clearly Ram Man.
Yeah.
But when somebody said, not everything can be solved by, ramming it with your helmet. And she's like, every problem can be solved by ramming it with my helmet, which I thought was funny. That was cute and well delivered.
Good. I'm glad you like that. There's something positive.
I'm trying. Sheik, real quick, the reason I have weird memories of Ram Man is because when I was a kid, my friend across the street, Ben, and I used to play with our He-Man toys, and they would fight each other and die and destroy things, right? And I didn't really care for Ram Man. He was one of the characters I didn't really care about. And I definitely didn't care for mayonnaise. And I still don't, because mayonnaise is vile. And so Ram Man had these legs that would like go up inside of him, right? So it's like his legs would go up in his body, and then he would like spring out of it. Anyway, the point is that Ben one time stuck Ram Man's, and his legs were ribbed. They were like ribbed and would go up inside of him. And Ben stuck Ram Man's legs in a jar of mayonnaise and then shoved them back up inside his body. And then it was like summer. So it just kind of started to like fester up in there, and it was really gross. And then I'm like, don't you throw him away, man. He's dead to me, man. Get that thing.
That's gross.
So anyway, whenever anybody mentions Ram Man, that's just the only thing I think of. Here, this is what he looked like.
Without the mayonnaise.
Yeah.
The mayonnaise.
See, that's what he looked like. That's kind of a beat up toy of Ram Man. But see, so his legs were coated in mayonnaise, and they would go up into his body and then come out. And anyway.
I love your response. He's dead to me.
Throw it away, dude. Even if you could wash off the legs, it's up inside of him now. Anyway, sorry. But you guys tell me what you loved about this show. I feel like I'm a downer today. I don't want to be a downer. Just want to keep it real.
I mean, I feel like I already answered it. I like the story. I like the elaboration. I like the interactions. I like the open ending where it's going to build in the future. Those are the elements I really liked a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I don't know if I'd say love, but I liked it enough. I mean, I was definitely surprised at how much I felt entertained by it, and I liked the characters. I kind of want to see like it makes you want to like know more about the characters. Like there is some mystery to it, and for me, like that's really good. And not knowing anything about the story, like it'll be interesting to it put interest in me, and I liked that. I liked the entertainment. I liked the jokes, and I really liked Tila though. I felt bad. I know it like sounds bad that she's not like the other character, but I just really liked her.
Totally fine.
This is kind of like she's just my kind of like character. I like the magical powers. I like that she's small. Like those are the characters I've cosplayed as. So me as a cosplayer and like a little anime nerd.
You were taking notes. Yeah. You're like, ooh.
I did put I did joke and put Naruto hands because she does like the little like if anyone who knows Naruto, the animation, like that's how they do their ninja powers, like with their hands. And so I was like, she got like the Naruto thing over here, like doing her like weird little hand like movements. So I thought, but I liked the characters, and I wanted to know more about them.
So Tila, I will say, is actually a combination of two characters in this show. She's basically a combination of Tila and the sorceress in this show as compared to the previous one. Whereas in the previous show, Tila was the daughter of the sorceress and Duncan. But in this case, and didn't have any magical powers, at least in the original series. So it's like in this one, they kind of fuse those two characters into one. So she's Tila and she's the sorceress.
They kind of fused those together into one and then completely changed it. Yeah. But what was your favorite character, Muhammad? Or who?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I found Crass very interesting because she was totally new. So I didn't know who that was at the time. I didn't know this was going to be Ram Mam. I found it interesting, like, how is this person fitting into the puzzle? So I found her puzzling enough that I found her very engaging. So I think that's who I would pick.
What about you, Sheik? Did you have a favorite?
I bet you can guess.
Tila.
Yes.
You were doing that.
Yeah. I like want her hair. No, she's just fun. The mystery. She's kind of like got a little bit rebellion. Just that intriguing character to me that I'm like, who is this? She has really cool powers. And but still a little lost. Like she's not too cocky or anything. I liked her whole character. And I also though liked the tiger guy.
Which one, the baby or the big guy?
The green, the big green.
Yeah, Cringer.
The big green,
who doesn't
Cringer.
cringe anymore.
Who's your favorite character, Ryan?
Who was the green guy that was with Evil Lynn?
Oh yeah, did I write his name down?
I couldn't find his name. But maybe him because he was a new character. So I was like, oh, who's this guy? It was like a new guy that I thought was, you know, like I love the idea of creating new characters.
Yeah.
And so as soon as I saw somebody that seemed like he was theoretically a new character, maybe we'll find out that it's not a new character. It's you know, somebody that we already knew, but they changed him up, like, you know, Ram Man to Ram Mam or whatever.
Beast
you
Man,
know,
but he hasn't gone beast yet.
Yeah, that might, because at first I did think it might be like Moss Man or Beast Man or something like that. But anyway, so maybe him. I do like, you know, Crass too. I mean, that's kind of fun to have a female Ram Man, because I didn't really like Ram Man to begin with. So having a different one is actually good for me. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Change them up. So maybe one of those two. But enough about that. And I do want to look up who that green guy was so that I can properly name check him. But Sheik, let's talk about you for a moment, shall we?
Sure.
We have questions.
What would you like to know?
Actually, Mohammed, you've got questions about streaming and right? Twitch streaming.
I do have questions for you. So you have a channel on Twitch, and more recently I see that you started a YouTube channel, or restarted a YouTube channel.
Restarted, yes.
Yeah, that's exciting. Can you tell us a little bit about what you have on there? I saw some bits, I saw some art, I saw some games and things like that. So tell us a little bit about
it. So on Twitch, I'm a variety streamer. So I don't just do gaming or whatever. There's so many things you can do on Twitch. It started as a gaming platform, and now it's just open up to everything. Lots of music performers, art. And I started with gaming, but I realized like I like games, but I really love interacting with my chat, and with gaming it can be kind of hard because you're focused, especially when I'm always trying to figure something out. So I ended up doing a lot of chatting, and a lot of the people that would come in, they have anxiety or like mental health. Like we bring a lot of mental health awareness in my Twitch streaming, and I noticed that like I just had a lot of good times just talking with them. I've overcome a lot of anxiety in my past. So for me, it slowly became just a nice, safe place for people to come and share. And then sometimes we do community games. So we'll play online games where they can use their phone to join in. And it's just like a nice, like, engaging, instead of them just viewing my video or like viewing my gameplay. They actually get to interact with me. And I feel like it just has a good like family friend feeling. And then with that, I've been kind of making some videos, and I put them on TikTok or Instagram. I feel like it really helps kind of point it back to my Twitch. So that's been nice. And then with my YouTube, I used to do YouTube videos for my cosplay because I was heavily into the cosplay scene. It's kind of why I got into streaming, because it happened during the pandemic when I couldn't go to conventions anymore. So then I was like, well, maybe I can do something online. So that kind of helped. But with cosplay, I would do a lot of like vlogs for conventions. I would go to conventions and then tell people how it went and like what we did in our characters, and it was really fun and I loved it. But then I stopped. YouTube's it can be kind of hard. You have to like really get all the videos uploaded, make sure your computer is up to date with all the programs for editing. So I just kind of threw that out after the 2020, but now I'm back because I have like a new life here in Southern California, and I have that like spark again to like do video logs. So it's kind of different than my Twitch. My Twitch is mostly like a whole community, but my YouTube's like a fun outlet for me, and I might kind of merge them, but I don't know.
That's awesome.
Real quick, I just want to show everybody. Here is Sheik in dressed up. I'm not sure if that's cosplay,
Oh,
but it's great pink hair and tiger ears.
yes. I didn't charge
Listening
them, but I was
devices.
gonna wear them today. I should have, so I could have been like cool tiger.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
But yeah, I like to
Variety
dress.
is the
I
spice
like
of
to
life.
dress up. Even if
Mhm.
it's not full cosplay, it's just fun to just be a character. I've always liked that. So yeah, I do definitely still like to dress up even if I'm just sitting and streaming for the day. I'll throw on a wig. We like call it Weeb Wednesdays or Weeb Wife Wednesdays. Where
Yeah, I was
on
gonna ask you about those
Wednesdays,
theme days, like White
yeah,
Wednesday
I
was
like
one, and yeah.
Wednesday. I love like they know they can expect me to be in like a costume or just like the wig, and then we'll do like games or we'll watch like an episode of an anime together. Like we just it's kind of fun. Mondays are motivational Mondays, so I try to motivate
Cool.
everybody for the rest of the week, or they motivate me. Like it's, and then Fridays is Fun Friday.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's got, I like the theme days. It gives everyone a heads up of what to expect for the stream, and consistency is key. Now that I work from home, I'm able to actually keep consistent with streaming, because that's really how people like can really grow community, because they're like, oh, we know you're going to be live at this time. So that's been very helpful.
That's
Yes.
awesome. So you mentioned games earlier. There was one that I saw on one of your streams that was interesting. It's called GeoGuessr.
Oh yeah, GeoGuessr.
Ooh,
Okay,
that's
so
fun.
geography, not my strong suit. It's been a hot minute since I've been in school, but my friend suggested it. It was a browser game that everyone can kind of join in from their phones, and it's a Google Maps game where it puts you somewhere on the map of the world, and just by looking and using Google Maps like Street View, you have to guess where you are. They sometimes can do famous places or just world, where you literally just drop somewhere and you have to look for signs for like the language it's in, or look at the buildings and see the architecture, like where is that. I'm not the best. Sometimes I get it, but other times I'm like, I don't, like I'm in a whole other country. But it's really fun, because then at the end you see your friends, like some of them are really good and they know exactly, and other ones I'm like, what language is this? I think it's Russian. Like but I feel like I'm learning, because it'll tell you eventually where you are. So I'm learning so much of like where other countries are. And I have quite a few friends from I stream in a good time of day where we have international people who join. So a few of my international friends are, I feel like I don't know, but they seem to know more about the world than I do, and they're so they'll pick on me saying it because I'm an American, but
It's
they
true.
like they're
Americans aren't
always
the
really,
best.
yeah, they're like, we have to learn about this stuff, all like where like all of that, like all of the other countries, and me, I'm like, we learn about our own country a lot, but like but I'm learning now like where certain famous places are in the world, or how to tell the difference between certain like Slavic like languages or like the Asian languages. So I find it really fun. GeoGuessr is definitely a cool browser game to check out, or even people who aren't gamers but like you like geography. Like it's pretty neat. It's an easy game to play with others.
For
Okay.
anybody looking for it online, it doesn't have an ER at the end. It's just R. So Geo, guess, and then just R.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
getter.
R.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love geography. I want to play this game and dominate. I'm so glad you guys mentioned this. I had no idea.
I should invite you
my
to
eyes
join with
lit up.
us and dominate, because we have one friend who's always winning, and I'm like,
Man, oh man, I will destroy.
just
Anyway,
act like a random person that just pops in. Hey, I saw you're playing this.
so before we get back to He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Sheik, you did mention, it's kind of tough to merge Twitch and YouTube together. Yeah, I don't really know how people would do that. I guess maybe get one kind of streaming software that might be able to do both simultaneous, but have you given that any thought? Or do you think that you might just kind of, if you do YouTube stuff and do Twitch stuff, you might just keep them as two separate entities? Have you given that much thought?
I have actually. I use OBS Studio and I believe Streamlabs. So these are the programs you use to stream to whatever you are, and there are some that let you do both. Or I could technically go live some days on YouTube, but because my vlogs are more about my real life or other like artsy, creative ways to be, I feel like I'm okay with it being separate. I think the most I would merge is I could do pre-recorded streams and have them, or recorded streams and have them made into a video for YouTube.
Right.
But I don't think I will do that. I have more of an idea to do where I can share tips or how I started streaming, or just other things that is more educational, like because I feel like that's what YouTube really is good for. And so I think if I did merge it, it's more of I'm using my knowledge of my Twitch streaming and then sharing it on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Everybody at home, you heard it here first. YouTube is best for educational stuff. And that's what this is, by the way, everybody. If you didn't,
definitely educational.
Yeah, if you guys couldn't tell, you're learning right now.
Let's talk about Eternia up and its geography.
Yeah. See? Check it out. Explore the world on geoguessr.com.
Oh, you pulled it up already? That's awesome.
You know I did.
Awesome.
Anyway, you guys, check out Sheik's goodies. Muhammad is ready for it. Oh, Sheik, what's your Twitch, by the way?
So it is just Twitch/Just Sheik, or you could just go to twitch.com and then look up Just Sheik. So JUST and then SHEIK.
All right, guys, you can remember that. Now Muhammad is ready. He's raring to go with this karate chop. Here it comes. It's time for the terrible twos.
Bottom line.
Or as Muhammad calls it, the bottom line. And this is the bottom symbol line for the bottom line.
The bottom line. Line at the bottom of the screen.
As we transition into the bottom line, I did look up who that guy was, the blue guy or green guy or whatever he was. His name is Cronus. And he apparently is the alter ego, or he is the new version of Trapjaw, who was one of the bad guy characters, one of Skeletor's guys. And he was pretty much my favorite of the bad guy characters, which is ironic.
Wow.
Ironic
That's
or coincidental.
funny.
I feel like people overuse ironic. It's not really ironic. I call it coincidental. So that's kind of, I'm not really sure how I feel about that. I'm like, but I liked Trapjaw and I like this guy, but does he need to be the same guy? So here's the guy, right? That's him.
Yeah.
And this is who he was in, the original.
Oh, I don't remember him at all.
Super different.
He was like he was like a guy that had all the weapons and stuff, Anyway.
Oh, okay. That part makes sense.
So, okay. I kind of like the idea of a new character, but whatever. That's cool. Anyway, it's the final two questions of the show, the two most important questions. Muhammad knows he's ready for them. Question number 1, Muhammad, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this first episode of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe?
You want to guess what I'm going to say? I'm going to say an 8. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I thought it was very engaging, entertaining, just fun to watch. Yeah. I mean, I was all in. Give it an 8 out of 10.
Interesting. Sheik, I bet you can guess what we're about to ask you.
No.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this first episode of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe?
I would give it a 7. I mean, I liked it. I liked it. I was surprised that I liked it. But I can't say like I loved it, but I feel like a 7's a good number for me.
Okay, 7.
And now
A
for
negative.
something completely different.
Yeah. Let's 7.
Consider all we said.
Look.
All viewpoints are valid.
Look. In my notes, the first time I gave it a 2.0.
Wow.
Upon rewatching it and seeing a couple new little things in there, I was like, okay, so that's cool. And I'm trying to be nice here. So I'm giving it a 2.3. I budged. You guys.
Not even a full point ahead.
Well, I can't give it a full point ahead. It's still terrible.
Wardogheim is in the chat right now typing Cali curmudgeon.
No, I bet you he's watching going like, yeah, I agree. It's not very well, who knows? So 2.3 is what I'm going to give it. A very generous 2.3.
Wow.
And
we're apart by over 5. That's amazing.
You should see our first He-Man review. We were all over the map on that one. Okay. Question number 2. For the purposes of this podcast, we all had to watch the first episode of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. But now that the podcast is over and we're free to move about the internet, Dr. Muhammad Noor, would you, of your own volition, watch the second episode?
I'm a little over halfway into the first season, so yeah.
He couldn't stop.
That was
wow.
This is how I do the Ram Man thing. Oh, I didn't look it up on Wikipedia. It just came up. Like, oh.
Well, there you go. He already answered it.
Okay. That's pretty cool. Does it get better or worse?
I mean, I thought the first one was good, so I don't know that.
But it can still get better.
I didn't think it got much better. I mean, I mean, is it okay to give spoilers? I don't necessarily want to give spoilers for things later, but
not spoilers.
Things change a little bit. I wouldn't say that the later episodes are better than the first episode. If you really didn't like the first episode, then you wouldn't like it. But on the other hand, if the issue is just this, I mean, it's not like you see a whole bunch more characters that are slightly different. I mean, it's mostly the same characters.
Mm-hmm. What about you,
that's
Sheik?
The issue that doesn't change. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Sheik? Would you watch the second episode of your own volition?
Yeah. I might watch it after this because
whoa.
Now I'm wondering, okay, is it really good? Did I just watch it and think it was really good? Now you got me questioning my thoughts. I might need to watch a little more and see how I feel and then try to prove you wrong and say, no, you need to go watch.
I have been wrong before.
Wow.
Let's just say more times than not. But in this case, come on.
I'm gonna laugh if you say you're gonna watch the second.
Considering your reasoning, it's understandable though. So
in this case, look, that's I don't think that this was a very good show. I think that if they called it something other than He-Man, maybe I'd give it a 3 or a 4.
Really?
So maybe that's more what it deserves, and it's my own biases, because when I hear the name He-Man, I associate it with something that the show is not. So I feel like it's like a bait and switch to me. I feel like this is a bait and switch, and so I'm penalizing it for that. But I feel like maybe if they called it, Grammary and the Superstars or whatever, then I'd be like, oh, it's a 3.5.
So let me ask you why. I mean, your main criticism was this issue. So if it was Grammar and Superstars, why is it still way below a 5?
No, well, that's just what I was talking about. But my main criticism is the writing is not good.
Oh, okay.
My main criticism is that the show is not good. I didn't much care for the animation either. I just didn't think it was a good show. But the thing that really just put me off on top of that was, the fact that it's called He-Man, but it's not He-Man. But the whole time I was watching it, I kept typing in my notes, what the hell am I watching? I don't even know what I'm watching. I don't even know what this crap is. Like, it just felt like I didn't know. It just wasn't good to me.
Wow.
It was just not a good show to me. And it wasn't just because, using a name of a franchise that it's not at all anything like. It was just didn't feel like I was watching it. It felt like I was watching a kid's cartoon that wasn't very good. Yeah. And everybody can destroy me in the comments below. I could be very wrong.
Go watch it to destroy him.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like the best kid. There was no Avatar right there. It was
it's no Avatar.
Yeah, it was engaging, but it wasn't like over the top. So I'm surprised that but I didn't think it was like bad writing. I just thought it was good. It was entertaining. It was a kid show. It's fun.
So now, see, this is the kind of stuff that makes everybody want to watch the show, because they're like, how can they be so divergent? How can they be so far apart? I got to figure this out. All right, everybody, if you want us to review a show, in the comments below, type WTF and the show. Remember, we're doing Saturday morning cartoons right now this month. And then in October, we're doing, of course, horror films, or not films, shows. Horror type things, monsters or whatever. Sheik loves it.
I do.
So give us your suggestions for Saturday morning cartoons and for horror type supernatural stuff. And we will definitely review it. Maybe.
The Addams Family. WTF Addams Family.
Well, yeah, the new one coming out Wednesday.
That's funny that you called it Wednesday. And she said Wednesday. Anyway, Mohammed, thanks for being our special guest co-host again.
Always a pleasure.
Sheik, thank you so much for playing with us. It's been a lot of fun, of course, and we appreciate you jumping on with us. You've had quite a wild week, and we appreciate you taking the time with us.
Thank you. I love being part of this. It's fun and good to meet you, Mohammed.
Yeah, you as well.
Thank you guys.
Mm-hmm. And everybody at home, go check out Sheik's Twitch and her YouTube channel. It's going to be a lot of fun, and you're going to enjoy it more than you're going to enjoy watching this. I'll tell you that much.
They're both great.
Yeah, that's right. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. Give us your likes and subscribe. Don't like this video just based on my opinions. Please do it on the effort. And we will see you next time. What I'm trying to say is this podcast was a reboot.
This podcast was a very friendly fight.
This podcast was a little, I don't know. It was a little confusing with the opinions. Now I need to watch more of a show to understand.
That's right. And everybody remember what Mr. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg likes to say.
Yeah. Don't forget to be an organ donor, and don't forget to watch the first of things.
All right, Sheik, we're going to do a freeze frame now, like we're in He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
That shitty smile and pretend that I